Hey guys, Zabudoslavia here, and I'm still at Cavan Town, and they're making a speech, and yeah, I'm still here.
The iconic capture the Cavan 47 and 48 All-Ireland winning team. I forgot to mention just a little bit at the beginning, if you don't mind, because we've the defence forces here. So we push back just a wee small bit, and reinside. It's just give a little bit of room.
Yep, and the Irish and the Defence Forces here.
Just to the left here. Yeah. All the single ladies can stay right here beside me, of course. There are exceptions to every rule. And the lads need to go way back there, so you're grand back there somewhere.
This is Cavan Town today.
We're delighted to be joined today.
And there is
John's daughters, Sarah, and Anna. His brother Seamus is also here, along with many, many more members of the O'Reilly family.
And the
who come from
GA
all over the
president
world
is here.
to be with us. We also send our very best wishes to John's brother Vincent, who is incredibly 103 years old. Is that fantastic?
Well, John Joe Riley's brother is 103 years
We're
old.
not to be here, and his sister Josephine in London. So
Oh my God.
So if this is being videos or anything like that, we want to say hello, Vincent.
There's
and
this
hello,
statue
Josephine.
there.
We're very proud of all your family and your achievements, and you're welcome, even if it's
John Joe Riley died pretty young at 34.
I want to thank everyone for coming. Some travelled great distances to be here with us to see the statue. Take its private place right here in the market square in the centre of Cavan Town, very close to the
So
spot.
basically,
Where John Joe
there's a military
would
van
have celebrated many famous Cavan
and
victories
the
over the
Irish
years
flag.
with the people of this county. You can imagine what it was like coming here to the market square, bringing home Sam Maguire. And here it is. We have Sam Maguire with us.
And yeah, the Sam Maguire Cup is here as well.
There's a couple of Kerry lads here who might quite agree with me. The statue has come about thanks to the sterling efforts of the John Joe O'Reilly Memorial
There's the
Committee,
Sam Maguire.
who have been for the last 2 years raising funds and planning for this momentous day. I would like to now call upon the committee's chairman, John Paul Feely, who is the first chairman here of Cavan Council.
Yeah, but basically, this is pretty exciting.
Welcome to John Paul Feely. Dear Recorder, 2 days from now, the 22nd of November 2022, will be the 70th anniversary of the death of Commandant John Joe O'Reilly. Only 34 years old, he was a man who had accomplished much in his personal life, in his playing career, and in his chosen profession. His death left his young wife Olive with 4 small children. Their profound loss was shared by a wider family at the death of one whom they thought to be almost invincible. What he meant to his teammates and indeed his rivals on the playing field is shown in the testament of people of the calibre of our former Taoiseach, his Cavan teammate John P. Wilson. Many others whose recollections are recorded in the extraordinary publication The Gallant John Joe, Cavan's Millennium Man, written by our own George Cartwright, confirm the respect,
And yeah, there's a song
admiration,
about John Joe
and
O'Reilly,
iconic status
the gallant John Joe.
which was so eloquently captured in the extract from an article from the Anglo-Celt published soon after his death and reproduced in the programme for today. It is, of course, George's book which was and is to me the spark that lit the fire for this project. It is the reason I believe we are here today.
Yeah. There's a huge crowd here.
In his chosen career as a commandant in our defence forces, John Joe O'Reilly was clearly a man marked out for a glowing professional career. John Wilson, a subsequent Minister for Defence, therefore someone with a fairly informed knowledge of what it would take to be appointed Chief of Staff, expressed the view that had he lived, John Joe O'Reilly would have attained that position. I extend a very warm welcome to Lieutenant Colonel Stephen Morgan, who is representing the Defence Forces here today. His presence is a clear indication of the legacy of John Joe O'Reilly in our Defence Forces. John Joe was commissioned to the Army in 1939 and served throughout the period of the emergency. Those years of the Second World War were a time of great turbulence and danger for our young state. He was part of a new generation of professional soldiers, men set apart from the old rivalries from the Civil War of the previous generation. In 2008, the Defence Forces acknowledged John Joe, naming a new stand at the Defence Forces Training Sports Centre at the Curragh in his memory. We are delighted to have a colour party from the Defence Forces here today, together with a group from the Cavan branch of the Organisation of Ex-Service Personnel. Earlier today, they had a service to remember all of those who served in this country's Defence Forces and those who, for various reasons, fought with the armies of other nations. We thank the ONE for their assistance and indeed their patience, given that in order to accommodate this event, they had to alter their programme a number of times, and I really do sincerely thank them for that. We are honoured with the presence of very many dignitaries. My fellow councillors, Councillor Mary Freehill, the former Lord Mayor of Dublin, a native of Ballyconnell and indeed a member of the extended O'Reilly family, members of the Oireachtas, the Cathaoirleach,
Hey Fuelon, I found
and
this
the
cool
members
new app
of
called
Cavan
Camera.
County Board, and I very much appreciate
I found a new
all
app
of them
called
for
Camera.
their help and their
Bro,
support
bro,
throughout
look at
this.
it. Bro,
The very Reverend
bro,
Martin Hayes,
bro,
Bishop
look
of
what I can
Kilmore,
do with it.
representatives of the Ulster
Connor's
Council.
also here.
We appreciate all of your support throughout this project. Most especially, we are honoured with the presence of so many members of the O'Reilly family who have travelled from far and near for this special occasion. Our guest of honour, Uachtaráin Cumann Square Laura McCarthy, is very welcome back to County Cavan.
Connor's also here.
Just a few short weeks ago, he visited Kingspan Breffni to officially open the Breffni Gallery, a space to showcase all things relating to Cavan GAA. We really appreciate that he is back with us today to unveil this statue. On behalf of the organising committee, I'm extremely grateful to the hundreds of people who have turned out today on what thankfully has turned out not to be a cold, stormy day, and Ian Corrigan will sing that later and do it more justice than I could. The hundreds who have gathered here this morning, or this afternoon, the large numbers who attended the fundraising event in the Helix in DCU, the many individuals from throughout our county and around the world, our county board, led by Kieran O'Callaghan, and our clubs, the Cavan associations in Dublin and abroad, the businesses across our county and further afield, have all, through your support, vindicated our decision to come together and bring this statue to fruition. We are also very grateful for the exceptional support of Cavan County Council. My fellow councillors supported this initiative from the start, and officials have been hugely helpful. In the very early stages, the Committee of Novices received very practical advice on how to go about selecting an artist and commissioning a sculpture of this scale. We really appreciate the expert advice of the Arts Officer Katrina O'Reilly and her colleague Rhonda Tidey. They, together with their colleagues Gary Scanlon, Paul Mulligan and Brendan Jennings, worked with us to select an appropriate public place in our county town to position this fine statue. In recent weeks, Gary, Paul and Brendan and Paul and Brian Mulligan in particular and the local staff have been an exceptional help in preparing this site and finalising the practical arrangements for today. I want to also acknowledge the assistance of the stewards, organised by Cavan County Board, the members of An Garda Síochána, Pádraig McIntyre of the Town Hall Theatre and his team, and of course Kevin Callery for organising the stage and sound. Tony Finlay provided the covering for the statue, McMonigal Stone for the base, and Sammy Wilkinson, contractor. All have been hugely helpful. Most especially, I want to acknowledge the skill, the attention to detail, the professionalism, the courtesy and the vision of our sculptor, Seamus Conley. Without having seen the statue, I knew from the reports given by George Cartwright to one of our meetings about his visit to West Clare with members of the O'Reilly family that we were on to a winner with Seamus and his work. George described their emotional reaction to seeing the statue, their happiness with the likeness captured so skillfully by Seamus. That was all that I and the other committee members needed to know. We are deeply grateful to Seamus for what he has done. We believe he can be very proud of this statue, which takes such a prominent place in our county town. I'm also very pleased that a bust of John Joe, created by Seamus as part of this work, has been acquired by Cavan County Council. I want to thank our Chief Executive, Tommy Ryan, Director of Service O'Doyle, and Holly Roach, our curator, for making that decision. It will be added to the GAA Gallery in our County Museum in Ballyjimstuff in the near future. As a committee, we were determined that this piece, this celebration of John Joe O'Reilly, would not be confined, but should be in a prominent and public location, to emphasise that the legacy of John Joe O'Reilly was not only on the playing pitch, but that his legacy is an integral part of the story of our
Make
county.
sure to like and subscribe.
That the GAA and the part that it plays in our county and indeed our country